Hello, it is dropped kickoff time once again. We are here to talk squads. The Wallabies squad has been announced for the upcoming Bledisloe match in Wellington this weekend. You're getting a lunchtime rumination discussion about it. And I'm joined, of course, by Nick Hartman, co-founder of the pod. Nick, it's got to be a quick one because you are currently on your lunch break.
Yeah. We're definitely not at work, on my own free time here.
Yeah. Definitely not.
Hello, everyone. Name dropping.
Name dropping. It's true. But let's just dive straight into this squad for the Wallabies match against the All Blacks at the Bledisloe Cup in Wellington. And we won't even hesitate. We'll just drive straight in. First up, we have in the front row Angus Bell, Matty Fezler, Taniela Tupou, who are starting out, with Brendan Paenga-Ramosa, Isaac Kalia, and Alan Al-Latoa making up the reserves. One first very notable omission, which is, of course, James Slipper, Mr. Hartman.
Yeah, well, look, I'd say a notable omission is, what's the opposite of mission? Stayed in. I'd start with Fessler first. I mean, I want to see BPA play. Maybe he's not fit enough. I think he came back from France or something like that, and he's playing for the Force next year, so that's how he's in the squad. But, I mean, maybe he's a bit undercooked or whatever, but I'd like to see him start. Line out was fucking atrocious in the first half. I mean, a lot of things are atrocious, but especially a line out after being so good. But, maybe that's a counterpoint to that. A line out's been so good. James Slipper out. Look, I'm happy with that. I'm fine with that.
Do you reckon it's just bulk?
We need to start bringing new guys in. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's trending towards bold, but I wouldn't say it's bold.
Trending towards bold, but it's not bold.
It's not meek.
It's not meek. That's right. Bold, but not meek. I do think that they're obviously just trying to go to bash. They just want to try and bash up front a little bit. I get the sense with this squad and I feel like that even more with the second row because they've kept Frost and Williams in, Nick Frost and Jeremy Williams in the starting side. And I know we talked about, bringing Lucan into the side. He's still on the bench because he was quite effective there and he gave a lot of punch in that second half. I'm surprised he's not in the starting side.
Well, look, I guess you have this idea, and we talked about it in our last pod, you have this idea that the best team starts, but rugby's now a squad game, and you really got to think about, when to use people the best. In the same way that, look, you're not just going to pick Carlo Tizzano because he played a good game, because that would upset the makeup of the team, right, if he was starting as well. So, look, I'm happy with it, and as probably a lot of people know, and it's been reported widely, the All Blacks haven't scored a point the last quarter of any of their games. So, look, I think it might be work to that strategy. We'll see how it plays out on the weekend. But, look, I'm fine with that. I thought, again, except for the general woes and the line-out woes, I thought second row played fairly well on the weekend.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I did like Frost. I think Williams had a bit more of a patchy game, but, not enough to, be cut from the squad in any way, shape or form. General play, he was pretty good. Scrum, he was pretty good. So, definitely worth another shot. Loose forwards immediately, which is, were we really surprised? I think they were probably the standouts of the game on the weekend just gone. Bobby V stays in. Fraser McWright, of course, stays in. Harry Wilson retains the captaincy, stays in. With Langy Gleeson in still staying on the bench. I feel like this was the only part of the squad that was not going to change at all. To be 100% honest, they were so good. Yeah, they are. Yeah, I would just love to see Langy come on and break the game open in the same way that Lucan did. Because I just really want to see him do well. He's a huge dude, but he's still only 13 or something, young like that. So it's fun. Yeah, I mean, he's looked pretty good at the Tars. And I feel like he probably that last match was his best game in gold, I reckon, so far. Yeah. So I hope he can just keep building on that. And
one thing that we didn't really talk about, we talked about a bit in the last pod about the review of the game. But, Bobby V was the only, they talk about if you did a combined 15 of both teams, it would be in it from Australia. You'd say Bobby V. But it's kind of good to see that a couple of players have stepped up their game around him, and he's not out and out the best.
Mm. Well, it's funny you mentioned that. Like, I reckon there was a vote. Like, they did like a vote. Like, score your players on the Raw, and Bobby V came in fifth. It was fifth best. Like, Fraser was obviously number one, followed by Harry. And then there was like Tom Wright and all of that, and Lucan also scored pretty highly. So yeah, maybe it's the case of the rising tide lifts all ships. I was actually,
It might also be the case that, what a lot of people have been crying out for, and given there's limited game time every year, but playing Fraser McWright and Harry Wilson, starting them a couple games in a row, look what happens. They grow into the role. Who would have thought?
Yeah, they're so good. Like they're basic. I reckon you good luck trying to unseat all three of them. To be 100% honest,
I'm honestly pleasantly surprised. Not that my opinion means anything, but I'm really glad that Harry Wilson played fantastically. And also said in the last pod, he's from Narrabri. He's actually from Gunnedah. Look that up. But in my defence, Gunnedah is not too far from Narrabri. It's only down the road. But again, another great New South Wales product that Queensland have stolen. Yeah,
look, it wouldn't be a proper dropped kickoff pod unless we got some key fact wrong. Like, that's just how it rolls.
There's another pod out there that gets many routinely wrong.
Yeah, no comment. We have let's talk halves, because I mean, it's the elephant in the room when it comes to the Wallabies. I reckon it's the one area that we're still not quite 100% sure on. Jake Gordon back in the side, replacing Nick White, with Noah Laseo retaining his position at fly half. Ben Donaldson is in. Tate McDermott's still on the bench. I'm really surprised about this one, because I reckon Tate has done enough. I mean, we mentioned it in the last pod, to earn a start, and I think he could work quite well with Noah in the starting side. But Gordon, I reckon his style of play just works really, really well with what Schmidt's going for. Maybe that's just kind of the key difference here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But look, you said 100% unsure. I would say 50%, because I think scrum half's where we need them. Nathan said in our last pod that what Tate's kind of done is that he comes on so well and finishes so well that he's kind of cemented his spot there in a way. He could be first picked, but it's at 21.
Yeah.
So I'm happy where the halves are. I've always been a big Gordon fan.
Can't imagine why.
Well, but I mean, the thing is he's just always been a hard grafter, and really, as he's gotten older, his tactical awareness and game sense has gone through the roof. I mean, he scored about 3 intercept tries or something last year.
Yeah,
so he's just great. He's not flashy. He's just a hard worker. And that's why I love him. But halves. I don't know what's going on here. So he picked Tom Liner on the bench, then didn't use him. Now he's dropped him. And now we've got Ben Donaldson. And we're still playing Noah. I really want to go. I really want to know what someone who knows more than me thinks about the situation and how they play and what he's looking for. Because I don't. I've got no idea what's going on here.
Yeah, I think it's probably just the case of maybe Schmidt's just made the decision that, in terms of all of our halves are so all of our fly halves specifically are just so inexperienced, or haven't played a particular style of game that he wants to go with. So maybe he's just going, fuck it, Noah, you're getting a crash course. Just your spot is secured for this period of time. Just do what you can, ease yourself into the game. I think he eased himself into the game, like in that Argentina win last week. He just didn't get the W. Everyone just looks at those moments where he fucks up and just zeroes in on them, because I reckon people are just so obsessed with the fly half because we had it so good with Larkham and Flatley. I mean, you got the same shit people are throwing at nowadays. I mean, they threw the same shit at Foley. They threw the same shit at Cooper. They threw the same shit at so many other players in the past. So it's not exactly anything new, but I reckon he's just going, you know what, it's yours. I'm assuming you're probably our best pick or option for the Lions, but he's still got to grow into
Imagine
it.
if you said that to him. Look, man, I imagine you're the best player.
It's like such a backhanded compliment.
So,
It's true.
Yeah, I really don't see it, but the only one so far, the only kind of pick so far that I'm not pleased with.
We'll go into the heart. We'll go to the centres. Hunter Paisami keeps his position. Len Iketia keeps his position, and Josh Fluke is now up on the bench, which is a bit of a surprise to me because I thought you'd probably want to have someone like a Jorgo or a winger to try and inject some punch on the far side to finish off the game, but clearly not.
Yeah, clearly not. I mean, I guess I imagine. Look, if anything happens, I mean, you got Callaway can switch around, and Tom Wright could play on the wing. I guess that's it. Thinking, or he could move one of the centres to fullback. Yes. Yeah. Look, Paisami's really disappointed me. I think
even last week.
Lenny Katau, I mean, to go back to what I was saying at the start, had a pretty awful first half, but has definitely shown in all the other games he's up there and the best players in the world in his position. But yeah, Paisami disappoints me a bit, but hopefully he can repay the faith that he's been shown. Because I don't know, like, and Hamish Stewart, what happened?
Yeah, where is he?
Maybe he's got a real bad bug. I'm not sure.
Doesn't seem like it. He always seemed like always kind of committed, and he's got that enough experience. Like, I would be picking him over Fluke. No disrespect to Fluke, it's just the dude's got more experience. It seems like more of a distributor, but who knows? But look, a few question marks about that. I thought Paisami, I mean, I reckon he's been okay. He's kind of been in and out of injury, but he was pretty decent last week. Hopefully it's, he can actually, but when he has been off, I do agree with you, he's been pretty off. So let's hope he can kind of finish up and
it might be a bit getting picked for his physicality. He's a bit
sledgehammer.
Yeah, it's hard. The Nuggets, he could be in. He could easily play an extra in John Wick.
Last few, I feel like the last couple of years, it's just been like the centers have just been two big bastards. Like with bloody Karevi and
Karevi.
Yeah, I mean, and dude is literally a sledge. He's a big chunky boy. So
is he still playing?
He's still playing. He's still playing. He's in Japan, I think, still at the moment.
Is he in any danger of getting picked? If we could pick anyone in the world, do you reckon he'd get picked?
I mean, it's the style of game, I reckon. If you want a big bastard, then he's probably your man. But the dude always just took it up himself and then was always just having one hand free for the offload. That's kind of just what that was his go.
Yeah.
He's not as effective a ball distributor, which is why I thought someone like Stewart would probably be quite handy. But
not effective as ball distributor. It's a very polite way of saying like that. Like doesn't.
He holds onto the ball. He doesn't pass it. He doesn't pick the holes. He just tries to make them. So yeah, probably about right. And then finishing up, we've got back three, and I think this is probably the key talking point of the whole squad. To be honest, Marika's gone. No more Marika. Dylan Peach starts on the wing. Another Tar boy. You'll be very happy. Oh, actually, no, he's a Force boy now. Heading over west.
I'm not happy because he's a Tar boy. I'm happy for Peach because again he's just a hard worker and he's intelligent.
Yeah.
And look, he's not gifted with raw natural talent like let's say Marika or something that Australian rugby loves to latch onto. He's a smart lad. He's worked really hard, and playing for the Tars, especially out in the wing, he's still putting a good shift despite the fact that the team was absolute dog shit last year. So I'm really happy for him, and he played really well on the weekend as well.
Yeah, I realised when he played, I think it was when we went to that Saders game like last year or the year before, like first year of DC's time in charge when the Tars won at Leichhardt.
Yeah, Leichhardt.
And it was the moment where I realised, fuck, this kid's good. Like seeing him live and his attacking lines and his speed and his physicality, I was like, he's good. Yeah.
Great player. Kind of in the same vein as Dalgunu.
Yeah. Kind of similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
who knows whether he'll be shifting to centre as much as Daugunu has been on occasion. But I mean, at the very least, he's a pretty effective finisher and a big and a strong lad with a good sense of it. So who knows? But other two, of course, are Kellaway and Tom Wright. I mean, I don't think either of them were in doubt about losing their, restarting after last week, particularly Wright, who played. You raised a good point in the pod. He played really, really well in terms of just the days of brain farts seem to be over. Touch wood. But, I mean, Kellaway, he was consistent. He didn't necessarily set the world on fire, but, he's a good experienced head to have in that back three.
Yeah, look, you imagine when he came back from England, I was like, oh, great, who's this Kellaway? Played really well. And maybe, being at the Rebels, he's maybe regressed a bit. Or just, obviously a lot of things going on there, which isn't great for a player's development. So maybe going to the Tars, he'll be able to get back on his best foot. But yeah, I'd just like to see him, pick up a bit of form. I think he's been a tiny bit flat. Like, he is a sure pair of hands, and he might be limited by the fact that he doesn't really have pace. And the meta of, the strategy of rugby might be changing more towards that pace, which might leave him a bit behind, literally and figuratively. So if he could just pick that up, but he's a sure pair of hands. I mean, even when I was saying about Tom Wright, I wish I kind of said, look, if you had Andrew Kellaway under a high ball, or, the ball's in Andrew Kellaway's hands, you just know, you feel more safe and secure versus if Tom Wright's got it. Really try to just do an NFL pass for no reason kind of thing.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
But Tom Wright, he's great. Really enjoying him. Yeah. Living up to his potential. And it's also to go back to what we were saying about fly halves, there is this real churn attitude in Australian rugby, not good enough. But people have shown patience in him, and he's built up his, like we're saying, game management and decision making, and he's becoming a lot better and one of the better players on the team, as evidenced by the poll of the Raw. So, I'm good to see him. But you said biggest chatting point about back three. I don't think it is really. Corabetti didn't play well. Hasn't played well. Looked a bit undercooked. Maybe it's the beginning of the end for him, but good to see Peach in there.
Yeah, well, if it is, it's a shame. I reckon, he's had a pretty good career, all things he's had a pretty good run in gold, Marika has. So
yeah, and he only played for 4 or 5 years, I think.
But he played in pretty much every bloody game. He's got 60-something tests. He's one of the most capped players in the squad.
Oh, really? Yeah, right.
Yeah. So he's been around for a bit. So he's been a constant. He's been consistently there. Being one of the standouts in a tough period. On that point, funny you mentioned about the halves. Before we do our final predictions for the match, Dylan dropped a funny comment in our chat, which basically said he's not necessarily a fan of Noah Lolesio, and he basically made the conclusion that Noah Lolesio is the new Dean Mum. Is that true?
Look! I don't really like the pile-ons of poor players that people crap on. But in terms of that pain point for a lot of fans, gone, why has he been picked? Yep, absolutely. Shibboleth, is that the word I'm looking for? I'm not sure. I mean, look, we've just gone through all the other picks, and all the other picks are fine. Yeah. Fly half is probably, one of these positions where you do have to put the most patience in if things aren't working out. So maybe that's what we've just got to do. But look, all Ben Donaldson has to do is do what Tom Wright's done. Ask Tom Wright how he cut out the weird shit.
Because when he's good, he's
probably
really
has to be a bit older. And Will Harrison.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a shame he's gone overseas, but hopefully he doesn't break his leg again. Knee, sorry.
Yeah.
And can also provide some opposition and competition, and also Tane, of course.
Yeah, Harry Jones' favourite.
Yeah. I saw. Did you see Steve Lenthal put a fairly comment up? when who's the pirate guy in The Simpsons?
Oh yeah, fuck.
And
God.
he's got that little clown that comes out with the accordion.
Yeah.
Quarter. Oh, he's gonna be gone forever. Yeah, same with Harry Jones and Teenage
Yeah,
Bob.
I tagged him in that comment and said, I think there was a post, like it was the same one of Tane doing a chip and through, and I just tagged Harry Jones and said, "This will make you horny." Just just drop this in here.
Yeah, it's a great try, but it's an amazing piece of luck as well to get that bounce.
Yeah, that bounce.
And also, look, it's NPC. I'm not. It's not as good as Super Rugby.
I mean,
Could the top team probably beat Waratahs? Probably.
I mean, ask how they go next year. It really depends on how that squad comes together. But it's a good squad. Yeah, this year's Tars, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like,
with Darren Coleman, whatever.
Yeah. Final question in terms of Wallabies, at least. Do we see a win? Do we see a breaking of getting a monkey off the back?
I don't see a win, but as long as it's hard fought, because victory, winning is an outcome of improvement. So all I want to see is improvement and a hard fought win. I don't want to see a meek surrender. Every time we play well at home, we go back to New Zealand, we get reamed every time.
Yeah, I'm same pretty much. Like, I think I don't necessarily see I don't necessarily see a win. Also because the All Blacks have also announced that they're benching DMAC and Bowden Barrett's going to be at fly half. So they've clearly identified that whatever they're doing with DMAC isn't working, and I reckon that changes the equation considerably because.
Well, I was just wondering how different would the All Blacks be if Richie Mo'unga wasn't in Japan?
I reckon there'd be a different kettle of fish. I think they've clearly lined up DMAC. They've been lining up DMAC for a while as the option available to them, but he's just, I don't know what it is, if it's a combination thing, if it just hasn't quite delivered.
I think it's just he's a bit too Super Rugby.
How so?
Oh, it's just a bit too flashy, bit too, just attack. Throwing speculative passes, game management, all those kind of things. We see, funnily enough, Noah's a lot better at all that kind of stuff. But, DMAC's a freak. So it's kind of like, DMAC should probably be their tape. Bring him on 20 minutes to go to break open a game.
Mm-hmm. Who knows? But, yeah, I reckon that seriously tips the scales. Even though the All Blacks apparently have lost their last 5 or 6 games in Wellington, which is an obscene.
Yeah, haven't won there for 6 years. I think I heard.
Yeah, like since that Lions draw, like they've lost to South Africa, they've lost to Argentina. Like they've not got a good record there. They've drew with the Lions, they drew with us, lost to the Box, lost to Argentina. So it's like pretty surprising. I mean, if there is a time, you can think if there is a time for the Wallabies to win, potentially it is now. But maybe they also missed the boat last week with the loss. Maybe that might have been the best chance.
Payton put that article in the Sydney Morning Herald or Fairfax. I don't really like that kind of stuff. And then there's a lot of recency bias. Like, it was a great game. We fought back and all that stuff. But, we can't think about this as our chance. I don't like that kind of talk. It is defeatist. I don't like it.
Yeah, that's fair. I reckon.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I know exactly what you mean, because then you psych yourself out and it's like a whole, or it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And it takes away what actually matters and what happens on the field now, and the current actions is what determines the result.
And also look, if say the All Blacks, had a bug running through their camp and 5 of their players, 6 of their players, all had to sit out, and then we won, it would still feel kind of empty, and the All Blacks not being at their best, it's still. But saying that, it'd be nice to win.
It would be nice. I think if we get a win, amazing. That would be fantastic. But yeah, a hard-fought game. I reckon if they can pull off a result similar to Homebush, either a win or a close loss, that changes the equation for me because it means that finally there'd be some consistency in good performances. You wouldn't have 1 week of just quality and then 1 week of total bullshit.
Exactly. And I think, I felt right after the game, and I'm sure you felt that too, and I'm sure the players felt it too. They just wanted to keep playing. If that game went for 9 minutes, we would have won it. And that is not where that's where you want to be as the team.
Yeah,
and it's not where you want to be as the opposition. And I think if we won it, that will continue until the next time for the All Blacks.
Yeah, that's right.
And we'd be on top psychologically. So, and even if it's another close loss as well, I think would still be the ascendancy's on us.
Yeah.
And that would go to breaking that hoodoo.
Absolutely. Cheers, Nico. It's been a pleasure chatting squads or Wallaby squads with you. Wallabies will play the All Blacks this Saturday, 5:05 p.m. kickoff, Aussie time.
Eastern official Super Rugby time.
Official Super Rugby time, elite coast time.
2 p.m.
Yeah, and then a 1 a.m. start for South Africa versus Argentina. If you can be bothered to stay up for that.
Great. Anyway, we don't need to talk about that. But will be great.
I mean, they're actually turns out they're like Argentina can actually win the Rugby Championship if they deny the Springboks a bonus point, like any sort of bonus points, and then they beat the Boks with a bonus point. But they're playing in South Africa, so
that would be wild. That'd be wild.
How fucking good would it be if Argentina won it? How fucking good! I'd be so happy. Fucking South African rugby Twitter would be in meltdown. It would be phenomenal. So before we finish up the pod for this week, Mr. Hartman has just jumped off because he hasn't had the chance to check out any of the Wallaroos games. We'll talk a little bit. I'll do a little final spiel, flying solo, talking about the Wallaroos. God, it's been such an interesting couple of weeks keeping an eye on the Wallaroos, and the development of this squad. Kind of one of their first big, massive tours heading overseas. But I must admit, right now, I was really hoping at the moment that this tour would lead to a couple of wins, a bit of history, get some wins on the road, see the squad built together. And the impression that we've had so far from the two matches is that there is a lot more growth to happen for this side. And, first of all, of course, Ireland, a very, very well-disciplined Ireland, knocked off the Wallaroos 36-10 at Kingspan Stadium at 11 on Saturday, 14th of September. And then, of course, last week, Wales grabbing their first ever win over the Wallaroos in 7 attempts, winning 31-24, winning on the bell at Rodney Parade in Newport. Oh, God, I think the great way to describe it, Nathan and I have had a couple of chats about it. We really have been trying to scratch our heads as to what exactly is going on, because it has felt like there has been a bit of a drop-off between, the Wallaroos of last year, where they knocked off the likes of France and knocked off the likes of Wales, beat the United States. There is a sense that such basic errors that stifle all the momentum and gift games back to players. I mean, as much as I think it's fair to say, and a lot of Welsh fans have said it on Twitter, that the Wales women's rugby team is not crash hot at the moment. They came last in the Six Nations, so to lose to them is kind of a point where it's not exactly acceptable if you are a Wallaroos, considering where the Wallaroos are. So right now, at the time of recording, the Wallaroos have landed in South Africa. The launch of WXV2 has happened. The players are getting ready to go. No squad has been announced as of yet, but you'd be delighted to know that the Wallaroos are actually, when they kick off, their first match against Wales is actually at 8:30 p.m. elite coast time. So it's actually fits quite nicely into after the Wallabies All Blacks Bledisloe match at DHL Stadium. They're playing in Cape Town at 8:30 p.m. kickoff Australia time, Eastern Coast time on Saturday, 28th September, this Saturday. No squad yet. I'm assuming there would be a couple of changes. Alani Nathan has been one of the big ones, who is now out of the squad for the rest of the season with a significant knee injury. So her season is done for the year. It's going to be quite a difficult I reckon this is going to be a real indication of where the Wallaroos are, because Jo Yap made it abundantly clear she wanted them to win this competition. They have to play Wales, they have to play South Africa, and they have to play Scotland. We'll keep an eye on when the squad drops, and we'll release it on the Dropped Kickoff Twitter. But fair to say, if they come away from this with just more losses, there will be some significant pressure on Jo Yap and that squad heading into what's set to be a very critical year in their history, which is another World Cup year. Also, being one of their first tours ever, you don't want to go away with 0-5, which is kind of the risk that they potentially could face if they don't get a roll on and pick up some wins in South Africa. But there is a talented squad here. There is a good, dangerous squad. There's a couple of really solid players who have really stood out, particularly the likes of Tuikava Varadra playing in the loose forwards at number 8. A lot of other players, Tiara Mins, who has also had a very, very strong season as well, playing, who kind of came into the loose forwards and really stuck out in a position where the Wallaroos need a little bit more depth. Of course, Julian Pomari is also kind of stuck out in that position in the loose in the back three, in the centres rather, and so there is a lot of talent in this squad. There is a lot of opportunity if they can really nail that execution and really nail that stuff down. As mentioned, so Ruby Anderson will be coming across to replace Lalani Nathan, but keep an eye out. Enjoy your rugby this weekend. Fingers crossed. Let's hope for both a Wallabies and a Wallaroos win.